2, 3, and what's your favorite scary movie? Is it creepy? Is it groovy? Ah, Masher! Well, hello everyone, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays for those of you who celebrate anything else, and me specifically, Hanukkah. We just ended this week, and next week, when I air this, it'll be last week. So, whatever the timeline is, who cares? It's Christmas this week for those of you who celebrate. So, Merry Christmas. To the exhaustion of the month and year, wrapping everything up and literally wrapping presents. I'm exhausted, so I didn't come up with a spooky drink. So let's just pretend this is a poison of choice. Wine is always good, so I figured it's within theme. But I did dress up for you guys today, so I did a color coordinated mask with my Michelin Pit pinup dress, which I love and adore so much. Give her Sight Vixen a look-see if you like what you see. Anyways, yes, so awesome that this year is ending. 2020, as everyone knows, is a garbage fire, so let's end it with some horror movies. I'm going to talk about Rare Exports, Santa's Sleigh, and Jack Frost, and not the Jack Frost with Michael Keaton. This one actually came out a year before in 1997. So who copied who? All right. So for Rare Exports, oh man, this one is so fun if you've never seen it. It's in Finnish, so if you're, a little wary on subtitles, beware. It is a subtitle heavy, but there are parts, very minimal, but there are parts of English. So a British what do you call that? A British research team, I guess they're calling it, but they're excavating this town in Finland, and it's like this remote mountain town, and all they do really is, well, it's kind of dreary, but they're reindeer slaughterers, so that's what they do and make their living on. And this British team was digging up Santa, and it's a really cool story. I don't want to give a lot away because a lot of things kind of unfold, but you find out pretty quickly. The lead kid, the child that's the main character that kind of follows through the story. I will not say their names because I'm going to butcher them to death. So he's awesome. He's the lead kid, and he knows all about Santa and the lore. So he has well versed, and Santa in Finnish lore and the real Santa is actually not as holly jolly as we've all come to know. He's actually pretty evil, and all of his little elves. So this British team digs him up, and they don't know who they're digging for. They're hired by some conglomerate rich person, and when they find him, they're like, it's alive. And of course, he escapes and starts kidnapping all of the kids in this little Finnish town. So it's pretty, it's pretty crazy because it's small. So they all notice right away. And he replaces them with these like really creepy wooden dolls. It is terrifying. But this kid is awesome. He's, ready to defend his father and the town. And it's awesome. And it's full of laughs, and it's just full of momentum. And the reindeer get slaughtered by Santa, and immediately they're like, that's our livelihood. So they it's awesome. I don't really want to give anything else away. It's unique for sure. And for me, it's such a refreshing tale of Santa Claus. It's not something that's, we have Krampus, but we've never seen Santa be Krampus. It's like Krampus is kind of the demon that comes out if you're bad, but this guy is Santa, and he's evil. And we've commercialized him to kind of be like, haha, they captured him, put him away, and, they kind of made a happier lore for everybody to believe in. But he's pretty evil and really, really tall. So yeah, this one I've been dying to talk about. I haven't shared I did it in a horror group page I'm in because everyone's been in the group kind of talked about it and were the reason I even looked it up in the first place and started watching it. But I had no idea how in love I would be with this movie. For me, as someone who is Jewish, it was amazing because it's a Jewish wrestler from the WWE, Bill Goldberg, and he is Santa, and it's written by a Jew, and there's just so many Jew jokes throughout, and it's just like, who would have thought, like what a funny spin on a Christmas movie that's also a horror movie. It's just fantastic. It's more of like a slasher, comedy slasher. It's just gory and fantastic. So the first 5 minutes you're going to fall in love with. You're just like, WTF, how did this happen? You get Fran, you get Corky Romano, and there's just so many people that just pop up in the first scene, and they're all a family, and they're just like terrible to each other. They're just like that rich family that's like blah blah blah, and then Santa, who's Bill Goldberg, just comes down the chimney and starts killing everybody. And that is the first part of the movie. So you're just sold. It's like, this is what I wanted out of a Christmas horror movie. Like, everything in this movie from start to finish is just perfection. And something I found out is that Bill Goldberg actually met his wife on set of this movie. So I think that's really sweet. There's this like strip club scene that he goes to, and the girl on the swing is his wife. He met her during that scene, and 3.5 months after filming, they got married. And this is all on articles, but apparently they're still madly in love today. So that's just a really nice thing. And I think the greatest part about this movie is that the majority of the cast is Jewish. I mean, you have the whole beginning, they're all majority Jewish actors, and they're just bitching on Christmas, and Santa kills them. And then you have a Jewish deli, and people are anti-Semitic to him, and that's kind of where all of the main characters work and interact in until, everything ensues. And I think it's great because Santa is actually a demon that got tricked by a fallen angel, and the premise was the angel acted like just a commoner, and he's like, hey, if you beat me at this game, you can do whatever the heck you want, but if you don't, you're gonna have to be nice to people and give them presents for a century. And lo and behold, or 1,000 years, I think, and lo and behold, he loses, and so he turns into Santa for 1,000 years. And that's why, so this is like the day of his like not being Santa anymore, so he's just dressed up as Santa on Christmas, ready to wreak havoc on the world. He's just like, I can't believe I had to be nice to you all. So he just kills everybody. There's like really no rhyme or reason. I really thought it was like anybody who was bad or Jewish, but it's just anybody. It's hilarious. So yeah, it is a fantastic movie from start to finish. I can't say enough good things about Santa's Sleigh. I had no idea how good this movie was. I highly recommend Bill Goldberg. He seems like a gem of a human, and for him to, this is one of his acting debuts, especially after Ready to Rumble, which was really good, in my opinion, to each his own. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but I just think it's fun. I'm so glad Bill Goldberg, got a little time to just have fun and act, in between WWE. So that one's awesome, and I highly, 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 highly recommend it, as you can tell. So the next one, I saved one of the best for last. So this one was surprisingly awesome. So it kind of had like an Alex Mack, if you guys remember that Nick show, kind of feel. So Jack Frost is a serial killer, and the week before Christmas, he was actually going to prison to get put away, and then I think, was going to have the death sentence. So they were like, finally, we caught this guy, and the whole thing was he kept saying he was going to get revenge on the sheriff of this town of Snowminton. It's a imaginary town that this is based in. He's like, I'm going to get you, sheriff. And so Jack Frost is on a truck en route to jail, and they get into a car crash with, go figure, if I remember correctly, it was like some radioactive genetics truck. So this geneticist, like a scientist that was, fooling around with genes, essentially, had this thing where he could transform our DNA into anything. So we essentially never had to die. But go figure, the first test subject accidentally is Jack Frost, a crazy serial killer that's now still in Snowminton. Boo-hoo for this town. So the car crashes. He gets mixed up, like I said, with the Alex Mack thing, you know, how she gets like radiation and melts. He gets hit with this genetic weird thing and mutates and melts, and everybody thinks he's dead. But lo and behold, he's now a frickin' snowman because he just meshed his DNA with the snow and melted, and now he's a snowman. And it's crazy because he can melt and rebuild himself. So he could be virtually anywhere so long as there's snow. So they just have to kind of hunker down until winter or winter is over essentially. So, um, something I'm impressed by with this movie is they had such a bad budget that the writer, Michael Cooney, had to be the director. I don't think he chose that. You know, he wanted to get a director, but he ended up directing it as well for it to be made. And he said that the Campbell's, if you guys remember that Campbell's soup commercial where the kid's like a snowman and he goes home and his mom puts soup down and he drinks the soup and then he turns into a human being. That had 3 times the budget of this entire film. So that's insane that they got all that they did. Um, all things considered for 97, it's a pretty good CGI effects film. I really do think so. There's blood, gore, really fun parts, all that jazz. And it's just really great fun. And I actually really liked the guy who played Jack Frost. So I'm a bit bummed we didn't get, more of him as a person. He did great as a snowman, but I don't know what about his face, but he was such a good actor in that first moments of him being like a serial killer in the truck. I just really loved him. His name is Scott McDonald. And a sad thing about the Jack Frost franchise is that, they had a sequel, which I haven't seen yet, but they were going to make a third one, but they stalled it, which I, appreciate on behalf of the director writer, because the guy who played the sheriff, Christopher Alport, the actor, he unfortunately died in an avalanche accident in 2008. And I mean, talk about irony. I hate to say it, but that's really tragic as well. So he was also, and I didn't even connect the dots, but he was Pete Campbell from Mad Men. If you guys watch Mad Men, he was his father in the first season. And so that's why they killed off the character in the airplane crash, which is crazy. So, they dedicated the episode to him. So I think that goes to show for the actor. I don't know him personally, but for people to honor him so much where they don't just replace him, that goes miles in Hollywood, even if it's a low budget horror movie like Jack Frost franchise. What a, honor and head nod to him as an actor, to just kind of lay the characters to rest and kind of lay the franchise to rest. I think that's a really big thing. Another call out, one of the girls, kind of one of the prominent side characters is Shannon Elizabeth. And immediately I was just like, oh, Jay and Silent Bob chick, and she has just probably one of the best deaths in the movie. She has this ridiculous scene where she's like wet from the snow and she's about, she's making out with her boyfriend, Tommy. And, she's like, oh, I want to get pretty for you. So she goes and dries her hair. And then Jack Frost is like melted in the tub. And she's like, oh, Tommy, filled up a tub for me. So after all this time drying her hair, she goes into the tub and wets her hair again. Like, as a woman, we all have to question, like, did she tell the director and writer, like, we're not going to take that much time and then drench our hair again. We'll just be like, oh, that's sweet, but no. So it's just a fun movie. Like, again, like, these movies are just fun. It's just like, why not? Just have fun with it this year. And honestly, I love you all. Thank you all so much for following me and making this year fun when I started this movie series, mini series, video series, whatever you call it. I can't wait to talk about movies in January with you and start the new year. Stay safe, and I'll see you in 2021. Woo! Pull off my face. Oh, okay. Ideally, it's all supposed to come off in one swoop. I'm just lazy. It hurts so much. Ow. So this is me taking off my face. and getting ready. This is my new face for the new year. Hey, Happy New Year! Enjoy life, guys.